Another screaming match with Chloe. She'd just come home from a tryst with Julian, the college student. She was bankrolling. She saw me lying in bed and slid in behind me, her lips warm as they trailed along my neck. I sat bolt upright, instinctively, shoving her away. "Chloe, you might not feel dirty, but I do." She froze for a moment, then touched her face with a self-deprecating smirk. She yanked me out of bed and slammed me in front of the bathroom mirror, her fingers clamping around my chin. Her eyes laced with venom. "You're disgusted by me, Leo. Look at yourself. Do you see any trace of the man you used to be?" I stared at my reflection. My hair was a mess. My stubble was patchy, and dark circles under my eyes looked like bruises. The optimistic spark that used to define me was gone, replaced by a hollow, grey emptiness. Fine lines had crept onto my face, erasing any hint of me former vitality. For a split second, an image of Julian's face flashed in my mind, youthful, fiery, his eyes burning with a defiant mix of desire and ambition. "So what, Chloe?" I scoffed, leaning against the wall, my own ice stinging. "Is that your excuse for cheating on me?" She moved closer, standing on her toes, to gently trossy the corner of my eye with her thumb. "I've told you 100 times, I'm just having fun. When I get bored, I'll come back. Leo, I've always loved you." Nausea churned in my stomach. A wave of uncontrollable disgust, pain, and fury washed over me. I grabbed a cologne bottle from the counter and hurled it at the mirror, which shattered into aspidor web of cracks. "Get out," I roared. "Just get the hell out." After she left, I stood barefoot on the cold marble floor, staring out the window at the massive digital billboard across the street. It was a new campaign she'd funded for Julian, a full-body modeling shot of him smirking down at the city. I let out a bitter laugh. Clashes like this had become our routine over the last year, a painful ritual that had devolved from heart-wrenching agony to numb despair. I was never supposed to be in this world. 8 years ago, I was sent here on a mission to save the broken protagonist, Chloe Sterling. Back then, her father's affair had bankrupted the family company. Her mother had taken her own life, and she was drowning in debt. Her eyes were empty, dead to the world. Then I arrived in a bright, sunny morning. I walked up to that fragile, defeated girl. I moved into her cramped studio apartment with her, and together we survived on ramen and dollar pizza, slowly chipping away at her death. "Why are you so good to me?" she asked me once, her voice barely a whisper. I smiled and took her hand. "Maybe." It was a directive from on high. She looked down, her voice low. "They knew the best gift heaven has ever given me. The day my mission was completed, she must have sensed I was going to leave. She held on to me from behind, her eyes red and didn't sleep all night. My resolve softened. I turned and held her close. "Chloe," I whispered, "I'm not going home." After that, the system vanished. For 5 years, it never reappeared. And in those 5 years, Chloe cheated on me. It started in the 3rd year of our marriage. She started sponsoring a young, beautiful male model named Julian. I still remember the day I found out. She came home drunk, collapsing against me, and mumbled, "Leo, have you put on weight?" I amazed, Lord. I worked out religiously. My muscle mass was toned, and my weight hadn't changed in years. What's sheticking about? Later, I looked through her phone. The man she was keeping, Julian, was a 6'T tall wisp of a boy. All sharp angles and pale skin, the polar opposite of me. And that name she'd whispered Had it been Leo or Julien? The details of that day are a blur now. I just remember a roar in my ears as my world went black. Chloe knelt before me, sobbing, telling me it was a mistake, a momentary lapse for something new. 3 years of dating, 3 years of marriage, giving up my entire world for her. All of it led to this. I couldn't accept it. I couldn't let either of us off the hook that easily, so, by silent agreement, we stayed married. But our love was a rotting thing, a beautiful rose infested with worms. We couldn't bear to throw it away, yet sickened us to hold on. Her repeated betrayals led to endless cycles of fights and resentment until we were both exhausted. Our hearts turned touch. It was death by 1,000 cuts, slowly slicing away every last piece of love we had. So when the system finally awoke from its long slumber and spoke to me again, I answered without hesitation, "System, I regret it. I want to go home, host. I did warn you. The storyline after the mission's completion isn't predictable, including Chloe's change of heart. However, given your previously outstanding mission performance, I can grant you a one-time privilege and reopen the pathway home. There's just one condition. The pathway will open in 10 days. Exhaustion settled deep in my bones. I nodded. Okay, you have 10 days remaining in this world. The departure countdown is now active. The system went silent again. The house returned to its dead, suffocating quiet. I wiped the tears from my eyes and started packing. I didn't want to leave a single trace of myself behind in this world. I gathered all my clothes, stuffed them into trash bags, and threw them out. I took down wedding photos of me and Chloe that lined the hallway walls. I took out my wedding ring. When I proposed, I had Nell on one knee holding a modest half-carat diamond that cost me everything I had. My voice cracked as I asked her, "Chloe, will you marry me?" She fell into my arms, weeping. "Leo, you are the only light in my dark life. I will be faithful to you and only you for the rest of my days." That small diamond, though imperfect, had held the purest, most intense love Chloe and I had ever shared. I wore it every day until I saw her on the arm of Julien, a 5-carat pink diamond glittering on her hand. After that, my ring was relegated to a drawer. Now, I used that ring to smash the glass of our wedding photos, shattering them one by one. Finally, I looked around the home that was so full of our history, and a strange sense of peace washed over me. I had struggled in this toxic marriage for 5 years, clawing and fighting against the inevitable. Now, at last, I could leave. It was a kind of liberation. The next morning, he went downstairs. The lights were dim. Chloe was sitting on the sofa, sipping some kind of herbal wellness tea, her expression unreadable. "Where are the wedding photos?" she asked, her voice stopping me in my tracks. Her phone buzzed incessantly. It was Julien sending her a picture of himself holding a new watch she just bought him, a satisfied grin on his face. "Babe, was I good last night or what? Loved the gift. I'll make sure to be even better for you today." Winky face, she saw me notice, but made no effort to hide the screen. "I put them away," I said calmly, walking past her to the kitchen to pour a glass of water. She smirked, stood up, and pulled a Van Cleef & Arpels watch from her pocket. She grabbed my wrist and fastened it on me. Still mad, she murmured, leaning close to my ear, her voice, a low hiss like a snake. "Here, a little apology gift. It looks good on you," she whispered. "Leo, you will always be my husband. No one can replace you, not even Julien. Why get bored of him? I'll come back to you. We can even have your baby then. How about that? I pushed her away, my expression cold. I reached out and brushed his spot on her collar, the lingering scent of a man's cologne clinging to the fabric. I forced a sarcastic smile and walked away. Chloe had been pregnant once before. She didn't even know it at the time. I was still obsessed. With her loyalty then, still clinging to a desperate hope. I staked out the hotel where she was keeping Julian, staying up all night in my car. In the morning, I saw her emerge, her arm around him. His hand rested possessively on her hip as Hay guided her into the passenger seat of her car. Moments later, the windows fogged up as they started going at it right there in the parking garage. My hands clenched the steering wheel. An uncontrollably gut-wrenching rage took over, and I slammed my foot on the gas, ploughing my car into hers. The baby was lost in that collision. We hadn't slept together in months. It was obvious whose child it had been. She slapped me across, the face hard, and forced me to kneel and apologize. That was the 4th time I'd caught them together. Chloe watched me leave now with a flicker of surprise, but still no real alarm. She just nodded thoughtfully and left the house. She didn't come home for 2 days. During that time, I calmly watched the tabloids fill with stories of her and Julian's latest escapades. I didn't call, I didn't text. Instead, I started liquidating. The assets we had accumulated over the years, the real estate, the jewelry. The fee system had told me I could exercise my conversion rights. Any wealth I accumulated in this world could be transferred to my home world. In the first 2 years of our marriage, before everything went wrong, we had worked tirelessly and built a small fortune. Those were our honeymoon years when our love was at its peak. I had transferred my company entirely to her name. In return, all the properties she bought were put in my name. She said she felt guilty for all the hardship I'd endured for her, for pulling her out of the abyss. She said only by giving me financial security could she feel at peace. In the end, she didn't give me enough love, but she gave me more than enough money, enough to live lavishly for the rest of my life, even after I went home. With 5 days left on second down, I drove out of the city. There was still one property. I hadn't sold, a secluded estate in the Hudson Valley. It had been her anniversary gift to me. In happier times, we spent all our holidays there. The house held special meaning for us. I was going there now to get the deed and give it to the realty.